Well, guys, it's that time of year. As you can see behind me, spruce tip season is here. Spruce tips are an amazing thing that you can forage just about anywhere. Well, I shouldn't say anywhere, but anywhere around us anyways. There's spruce trees. You can also use fir or pine as well, same purpose. There are so many uses for spruce tips. Personally, we like it as a tea or maybe as a syrup. Maybe I'll take you through a little bit of that by the end of this video. But today our focus is on harvesting these because, as you can see behind me, we're almost too late. Some of these are getting really large. They're still soft and they're still usable. But lucky for us, I'm going to show you what we've got. So lucky for us, you can see up there on our property line, up where the sheep are in their pasture, the spruce trees start. And they go all the way down our driveway. So we are definitely very lucky in that sense. Now, as I was mentioning at the beginning of this video here, as you can see, these ones here are really starting to get a little bit large, but they are still tender and perfectly good for many things. The one that I just picked there, you can see it's probably about 2.5 inches long. You definitely would need to cut off that little stemmy bit, but still good. Very tart flavor. They're almost very citrusy. And they make a great substitute for almost like a lemon tea. These things are full of vitamin C and antioxidants and all that good stuff. So it certainly pays to have some of these in your arsenal for winter teas and things like that. The other thing that we're going to do with them is make a syrup, a cough syrup kind of thing, where you layer these with sugar in a jar. I'll quickly show that at the end. But for now, we are going to fill bags, because the one thing that's really nice about these is you can freeze them. The one thing I would recommend is not stuffing them into a bag, because as they freeze, sometimes it's hard to get them out in little bits at a time. But let's see what we can get full, and we'll go from there. I'm actually going to start with my harvesting down here at the end of the driveway, because this is one area right here, if I can get my hand to work the right way. This is one area right here that we do want to keep it pruned up and off the driveway anyways, so picking those tips, oh boy, I had a moment. Picking those tips will actually help us, because then it's not spreading. You can kind of see right here, you can see the area that I've been picking for the last couple of years, and it doesn't grow out over. And then we've got those higher branches that I can't reach that are getting bigger and bigger, but that's the way it goes. So we're going to get down there and we're going to start. And one thing I am noticing is that some of them are still that nice fresh bud. So right here you can see we have a perfect little tree. The buds are just coming out. I tend to knock off those little seed pod tips before I get them in the bag, because I have no intention of cleaning these. These are just going to go straight into the freezer as they are. But once I've knocked those off, I can just pull them into there. Sometimes they even just fall on their own. And it's that easy. These are perfect for making stir fries, things like that. I will dry some and dehydrate them for the teas. You could use fresh for teas as well. It's pretty versatile. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with the details of picking these bags. I'm just going to get it done, and I'll bring you back when I'm ready. So I have my 2 bags for the freezer filled up. Basically what I do is I fill them to half, so that when I put them in the freezer, I can kind of lay them out flat like that, because then what happens is they're a lot easier to break apart just what you need, rather than having to unthaw the whole bag, right? So this way I can just break off a little clump and it will be manageable. So I have 2 bags like this, and now I'm going to do a 3rd bag, which is to make these things that I want to make as soon as I get inside. So we keep going. 3rd half bag. That one we're going to take in and make some stuff right away. I was going to pick more, but then I thought, you know what? I've still got another day or two before a lot of these buds get too far, these tips. As you can see, I mean, some of them, they're just starting to come out. So we've got lots of life left in those to still make stuff. So I don't want to take more than I need. Basically, I try and take the ends and leave a whole bunch, periodically on the branch, unless it's a branch that I want to remove from the driveway. So we're going to take these 3 bags in. 2 for the freezer, 1 to get started on some stuff. and see how we get on, and maybe we'll be picking some more before the end of the video. So one fantastic way to enjoy your spruce tips is as spruce tip tea. Now, because we conveniently happen to be in the summertime here and it is going to be 30 degrees today, I have made this as a sun steep tea. Basically, it is 2 handfuls of spruce tips. I put a little bit of mint and a little bit of stevia in there just to kind of sweeten it up a little bit and add some minty flavor, because that's what we enjoy as a family. You could mix this with lemons. You could put green tea or something else in it as well. They're kind of, the world is your oyster, but this is a simple way to get the nutritional benefits out of these spring tips, and just kind of a great treat for the family. Basically, you want to let that steep in the sun for anywhere from 4 to 8 hours. The longer you let it steep, the tastier it gets. So hey, if you want to just leave it sitting overnight, that works too. But usually I'm not that prepared. So we're kind of starting at 11 this morning, and we're going to have it for supper. So let's enjoy. So another way that you can use these spruce tips is to make spruce tip syrup. Now, what we're kind of aiming for here is more of a cough syrup than a on your pancakes kind of syrup. It doesn't mean you couldn't use these for that purpose, but I probably would dilute it a little bit with some water because this will be quite concentrated. But basically what you want to do is weigh out your spruce tips, which I weighed out here and I had 325 grams roughly. So what you want to mix in with those is brown sugar, dark brown sugar. You can use white sugar as well, or cane sugar is an excellent option. I did not have cane sugar, so I'm preferring brown sugar to white sugar, but it really doesn't matter. It just needs to be a sugar product, because that will pull the juice, I guess you could say, or vitamin C goodness out of these spruce tips. So doubling it, I need about 750, which is about 3/4 of this bag. So I'm not going to weigh this out. I'm just going to eyeball, because that's how I roll. If you have more, it's not a big deal. This is a very high sugar content syrup. That would be why I would not necessarily use it straight on your pancakes. And basically at this point, you just want to work that brown sugar in, kind of. It's going to get mucked around in the jar anyways, but you just want it to not all fall into the jar first. So next step, I have a 2-liter or 2-quart jar and my funnel. And we're going to cram this in there the best we can. You could also just put your spruce tips in, then a layer of sugar, spruce tips, layer of sugar. I am going to have to push this down partway through to kind of pack it in. Another thing I've seen people do is layering lemons in with this as well. I've never done that, but it certainly is an option if anybody wants to, or if anybody has done that and they want to leave a comment below, that would be awesome, because I'd love to know what thoughts are on that. So as you can see, I'm full. I'm to the point I'm going to have to cram this in, but I'll bring you back once I've got it all in the jar. So there you can see all crammed into the jar. Basically at this point, you're going to let this sit for 24 to 48 hours, and you're going to start to notice it's changing to liquid. And when it gets to that point, I usually give it a stir. Make sure it kind of is all in there. You want the spruce tips kind of submerged if you can get it that way. After that, I take it and I sit it in a dark, cooler kind of place for upwards of 2 months. The longer you let it sit, the stronger and better it is. And it just is full of vitamin C goodness and an excellent cough syrup. So hopefully you'll give that a try. Apparently my cat is starving. Ebb. But anyways, I hope you give some of these a try, and definitely share any other ideas you have if there's things that you use your spruce tips for. So I have made spruce tip jelly before as well. I actually made it last year and still have a lot of jars left. So that's not in this list, but it's a great way to use those spruce tips as well. I haven't done a video on that, but there are some great ones out there. So definitely take a look for them. But I hope you kind of give this a try. I know we're getting to the end of spruce tip season this year, but certainly put it on the list for next year because it's an amazing natural resource that is just about everywhere. So we are just over 24 hours from when we put these spruce tips in the sugar. And as you can see, that jar that I had to cram them in has really come down to being quite liquidified. I'm not sure if that's even a word, but anyways, I'll go with it. And concentrated right down. So, you know, that full jar isn't going to produce a ridiculous amount of syrup. So we'll definitely be making some more of this. But now, at this point, this goes into a cool, dark place to sit for a couple months. Just stir it every, you know, whenever you think about it, really. It's not going to hurt it either way. And we'll do an update in a couple months when we strain this out and give it a taste.